the dog is bigger than the goat.
Cheers, friends.
Hey there.
Welcome to New Orleans.
Mardi Gras.
So we've come down to the Big Easy to experience the festivities and floats of Carnival season, and it is a season. It starts January 6th and goes until Fat Tuesday, which this year is February 21st. There are almost 80 parades down here. So in our adventure, we tried several different spots to catch the parades to see if it's better to party with the locals out in the neighborhoods or with the tourists downtown, to see if the floats are more generous at the beginning of the parade or they're just dumping it all at the end. A lot of hotels and restaurants along the parade routes will set up this scaffolding and sell parade viewing packages to their guests. We asked some of the establishments about them, and they sell out weeks in advance. Some might include food and beverages. Most importantly, they include access to a bathroom. The city of New Orleans does put out a fair amount of porta potties. Most normally public restrooms along the parade route will become for customers only during the parades. On the first night, we decided to catch the parades early on the route off St. Charles Street and see how the locals do it. And people get down here early to mark their spots for the parade. And everywhere along the parade route in the neighborhoods, you're gonna see these ladders. They've built them so the little kids have a place to sit and see everything. And they all look the same, so there's some regulation, I'm sure, that governs them. You got little seat belts and a little bar. And normally you see the parents standing on the back of it to keep it level. Partying with the locals is a lot of fun, but it is shoulder to shoulder at the front line. Parade viewing spots are a premium. So either get there early and stake out your spot, or try to make some new friends when you get there. Restaurants along the parade may stay open. The one we were next to set up some bars out on the street and went to mobile order only for the food. All of this is just from our first evening, and this is still just what we brought back. A lot of stuff was given to other people, but of course you have your traditional beads, some a little nicer than others. Sometimes I don't even bother to unwrap them. We saw whole bags of beads being thrown. They come in different sizes. Some even light up. You get some with little fancy attachments and bigger ones. There's some even bigger than this. I mean, these are huge. But they also have some nice glass beads. rubber ducks, all kinds of rings that light up, bouncy balls that light up. I mean, all this stuff just thrown out. Cups are really popular. We heard a lot of people say they like to collect the cups from the different crews and keep those as souvenirs. Headbands and just about anything they can attach LEDs to. Some crews also buy items and then they decorate them. Like this is a fancy decorated cup from the Cleopatra crew. All kinds of stuffies and stuffed animals. Tons of footballs everywhere. And super bounce balls. Light up glasses. Light up headbands. Little noisemakers that also light up. And some, I have little nicer things like this bracelet. This little backpack. All kinds of little games. And this isn't even like the biggest parades. Rex and Zulu all are known for some really big items. I believe Zulu decorates coconuts. I believe there's one crew called Muse. They decorate shoes. We heard about another parade where they decorated plungers, and we're throwing those out. So there's plenty to be had here. Definitely do not buy beads if you're coming to Mardi Gras. You'll find tons of them. So we are at the end of the parade, literally. Down at that stoplight is the official end of the parade. Now the floats will just keep going down the street. So we're going to see if it's any better being at the end of the parade or the middle of the parade. It definitely seems like the floats are more spread out down at the end of the parade. I was not able to do this on any of the floats down on St. Charles Street.
The end of the parade route was actually my least favorite spot to watch it. By the time the performers got to us, they were tired and extremely cold. And the floats, they had hardly any throws left and they were extremely spaced out. It was almost kind of boring.
With the end of the parade being kind of a bust, we decided to head up the parade route to find out just where the floats were dumping the last of their goods. Now every parade is different, and they're actually ran as multiple parades back to back. Each parade is put on by a private club called a crew, each one with its own budget, no corporate sponsors. So the amount of floats, the level of decorations, the different kinds of throws that they use are all going to vary between each different crew. The parades go on rain or shine, and today was pretty rainy, but that's nothing new to the people of New Orleans. It seems to me by the time the floats would reach Magazine and Canal Street, they were pretty much running on empty. All the really big, cool, flashy throws were already gone. And if you're not going to take the beats home with you, you can donate all your throws here. We came back later in the evening and catch another parade. This time we found a spot closer to where the parade route turns onto Canal Street. And this seems to be the sweet spot where a lot of the floats were tossing their big ticket items. The crowd here was a little bit younger and a lot more intoxicated. We were just a block away from Bourbon Street, which is party central for Mardi Gras. We did take a stroll down Bourbon Street to check out all the festivities. We'll link that video here. And just like everybody else we've seen along the parade routes, people here just want to catch the throws. They don't really care much about them. But here was the first place I saw them throw them back. St. Charles and Canal Street are not the only parade routes, and people on parade and marching bands are not the only kind of parades. Much to our delight, there are canine crews. Yeah, pet parades. We caught the crew of Barkus as they were leaving Louis Armstrong Park and heading into the French Quarter, which is probably one of the better spots, as we found out later when we caught up with them inside the French Quarter. Here's what the pet parade is like deep in the heart of the French Quarter. We're just a little north of Jackson Square. See, it's a lot more social. A lot less, more crowded. The main parade route that follows the trolley cars down St. Charles Street is about 4 miles long. This can take a float 2 to 3 hours to complete the parade route. Something to keep in mind when you're deciding where to check out the parades. And speaking of the trolley, it's a great way to get around the city, but they stop 2 hours before the parade and do not start until 2 hours after the last parade. And about the same time, they start blocking off the street, which pretty much cuts the western half of the city in half. So get where you need to go early in the day, because ride shares and rental cars might have a hard time navigating the city during the parades.
Overall, Mardi Gras energy is contagious, regardless of where you are watching the parade. The locals were great, the tourists were great. Being downtown has a almost intoxicating energy to it. I enjoyed this greatly, and I definitely look forward to coming back. I have found, regardless of where you are on the parade route, the parade goers are pretty aggressive and they want to catch everything. I enjoyed catching. I didn't plan on keeping, but it was fun to be able to give the things we caught to the little kids around us. A lot of competition, though, when you're short and in the front. I didn't get very many catches. There's something to be said about watching a Mardi Gras parade with the locals. I had a lot of fun watching it on St. Charles Street up towards the beginning of the parade route. The floats came quickly. The bands and performers were super energetic. There were a lot of throws, and the party goers, they were having a party. It was a really fun atmosphere.